An international custody fight that took a major step forward toward resolution today. Under a ruling by the Chief Justice in Brazil that upheld a previous decision, Sean Goldman should be returned to his biological father David within 48 hours. The decision came despite a late appeal by the boy's maternal grandmother and sets up a triumphant reunion several years in the making. But this father, who's battled so hard and for so long, won't be celebrating until he and his son are on their way home. As Jeffrey Kaufman reports tonight from Brazil. Jeffrey.
Good evening, Martin. Well, it's taken 5 long years, but finally David Goldman is going to be reunited with his son, Sean. We got the news this evening here in Rio in the most 21st century of ways in a tweet from the Chief Justice of Brazil's Supreme Court. In it, he said, the boy goes to his father, no more delays. And so this should finally settle what has become an international custody dispute that crosses borders and has caused tensions between Brazil and the U.S. If the next few days unfold as prescribed by the Chief Justice, Sean Goldman will be going back to the U.S. with his father in time for the holidays.
I'm hoping that this is the last time I have to go down there and return without my son.
This latest chapter in this wrenching family drama began last Wednesday as David Goldman left his home in New Jersey to head to the airport.
Wish us luck.
Goldman traveled overnight from New York to Rio after learning that Brazil's Court of Appeal had unanimously granted him sole custody of his son.
I love you. Let's go home.
He would have his son in just 48 hours.
Tired, anxious.
12 hours later, a weary David Goldman emerged from the airport here in Rio to face a bewildering throng of cameras.
Goldman, do you think that you're going to bring your son home this time? It's good.
The case has become big news in the U.S. and here in Brazil.
I hope I can leave with my son.
He wasn't ready to celebrate because he's been here before. Goldman knows what frustration, disappointment, and delay can mean.
Say hello, Dave.
It is a bitter end to what seemed like a storybook marriage. They met in Italy, the handsome American, the beautiful Brazilian, and married 10 years ago. Goldman's wife, Bruna, certainly seemed to be happy with their life together in New Jersey.
I love you guys. Thank you very much. And I feel like family.
Sean was born 9 years ago. In 2004, Bruna took the boy on what she said was a short vacation to visit family in Brazil. Goldman says he had no idea she was leaving him for good and taking his son with her. He talked with Sean shortly after the boy arrived in Brazil.
How's your mom?
Good.
Good. I love her too, you know. And I love you, both.
I love you too, Dada.
You guys are my family. And I love and miss you. And I can't... Yeah? Yes?
Bruna divorced David and remarried. Her new husband, heir to one of the most powerful legal families in Brazil. Their specialty, divorce and child custody cases. When Bruna died unexpectedly last year in childbirth, her mother and her new husband refused to give Goldman his son back. Goldman had filed a claim for custody in 2004. With last week's court decision upholding an earlier decision in Goldman's favor, it seemed he really would get his son by Friday. The handover was to happen here at the U.S. consulate in Rio, but then a hitch.
Seja enviada aos Estados Unidos.
The Brazilian family managed to get a single Supreme Court justice to put a stay on the custody order.
When you heard about Thursday's decision, another stay, what was your reaction?
Here we go again.
On Friday, what seemed like an olive branch from the Brazilian family, who will only speak through their lawyer.
I'm authorized by Mrs. Silvana Bianchi to invite you, Mr. Goldman, to spend Christmas night at her house. This will be a long-awaited family reunion.
Goldman dismissed the public invitation as a publicity stunt.
Will you be going to the families on Christmas Eve?
I don't know. My goal here is to bring my son home with me, his one and only father, for Christmas with his family in America.
Over the weekend, Goldman got support from Brazil's Attorney General, who filed an appeal to have the stay order lifted. He also worried about damage to the reputation of Brazil before the international community. Adding to the pressure, in snowy Washington, a multi-billion-dollar trade bill with Brazil was being stalled in Congress by politicians
angered by Brazil's failure to resolve this case. Congressman David Smith of New Jersey is here in Rio supporting Goldman's claim.
Frankly, this will put this country in a pariah state category, and I don't think they want to be there. With the Olympics coming here.
While Brazilian tourists reveled in the sun, sand, and sea of Copacabana's spectacular beach, David Goldman spent the weekend in his hotel, waiting, frustrated.
Everyone is out here with their families on vacations and having a good time, and I'm trying to reunite my family.
This morning, Goldman was sitting anxiously waiting for word. True to form, he remained focused on the one thing he came here for.
Until we get a ruling, until it's a favorable ruling, until Sean and I are together, reunited, on a plane, the wheels are up, I only will remain hopeful and no less determined to make that happen.
And tonight, he got that favorable ruling.
Now, technically, an appeal is possible, but we are told it is very unlikely, and it would not delay today's decision by the Chief Justice. So just a few questions remain. When will Sean be handed over to his father? And will the Brazilian family cooperate? U.S. and Brazilian sources tell us that there's been real concern about a final act of defiance from the Brazilian family. Would they flee and try to hide the boy? That being said, if it is a smooth handover, David Goldman told me this morning that he and his son will be on the first flight back to the U.S. that they can get seats on. Martin?
A father's prayers so close to being answered this holiday season. Our thanks to Jeffrey Kaufman.